What's up, everybody? My name is Michael, or Kiratze Online. Hopefully you guys are having a great day as usual, and I'm here with my very first Alani gameplay. This is actually recorded the day of release, and I actually snagged her only the second try. The second game that I played, I was able to snag her. Thought it would be a lot harder, but luckily I was able to grab it fast. And this is a pretty wonky team. Not a great composition, but, you know, we're going to do what we can. I'm pretty much don't really care what happens. I'm just going to be here learning the character. I originally was going to do this as a live commentary, but as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of doing live commentaries because my quality on my commentary isn't that great, because I can't really talk about what I really truly think about the character, things like that, because, you know, I'm really just concentrating about the game. But I gotta say, first, right off the bat, Alani is extremely fun. She's a very rewarding support. She fills a very nice role as a burst healer, something that we didn't really have before. Miko was over sustain. Amber is still sort of a semi-sustain DPS healer almost. And Reyna is a burst healer, but only through gear mod, her legendary gear mod, and or Helix choices. So Alani fits really placed as just an actual new support in Battleborn, but in addition to that, she actually can put out some pretty decent damage, but also has some very good CC effects. If you don't know what CC is, that means crowd control, so things like stuns, slows, blinding, anything that really affects those types of things in the game, that is called crowd control. And she has some nice crowd control. Her geyser is extremely strong, and I don't, you know, it's obviously too early to tell if she actually needs a little bit of a nerf. I personally don't think so. After playing her, reading her skills, I thought she might. She might need a few number adjustments, but I wouldn't say nerfs. I do think that her numbers are quite strong, but, you know, she has her weaknesses. She has her, you know, weak points, like just like any other Battleborn. Mainly the long cooldowns that she has until she gets her Helix choice to lower those cooldowns. Not to mention, she really relies on good timing. You can really take advantage of just her missing her heal, or once she has used her heal right away, if you jump on her, she really has nothing too much going on. Or, you know, whatever target she is healing. You know, being a burst healer, she can't really just keep someone alive. She really is great, though, for just getting in there for a clutch heal or two. Also, by the way, for this gameplay, guys, it is cut down. It was a really solid game. It went up to 31 minutes, but that was obviously a little too long to do a commentary for, so as you can see that I do cut the video here and there, mainly just highlighting where we have good team kills, good heals, things like that. You'll see her geyser right there. Originally I thought it was gonna be a little bit tough to actually heal off of people. One of their first Helix choices is having the choice to have your Riptide heal people over time, which is your little wave effect that goes forward and pushes enemies away and deals damage, or you have the choice of having your geyser heal for another source of burst heal. I tested out the geyser just to see how hard it is to actually hit your teammates with. It's actually not too terrible, because they made the heal effect, the AoE for it, a lot larger than the actual you know, visual effect. It's really nice, and it actually isn't too hard to actually heal people. And there are Helix augments and stuff like that to you know, make it larger or heal more and things like that. I will be going over her Helix tree and Helix choices in depth in a separate video, but you know, minus the hidden ones. Obviously, I'm only level 2 with her at the moment. But, you know, as we get the Helix choices and as I play her more, I will look forward to making a guide on her, because she's a pretty complex character to play, and she requires a lot of, you know, actual gameplay time. Right here I get a really nice geyser on top of the enemy Alani, and we're able to take her out. One thing I find is Alani is really great for just healing up the big tanky characters and sort of moving along the way. One thing I was thinking about when I was playing her is sort of adopting a roaming heals playstyle, which I think is really awesome. Now, she's not really the fastest character, so I would probably put some movement gear mods on her, but I'm running heal gear mods at the moment, and I think I get a very hefty amount of, I think 2 or even maybe all 3 of my gear mods actually have heal percentage. I can't remember, but I do have quite a bit. And, you know, once you get late game and you stack those osmosis stacks, which you can see around her reticle, she has 3 little circles. Those are your osmosis stacks, and the more stacks you have, the more your heal actually heals. When you get full stacks, you can have different effects, like damage reduction and things like that, go on your allies, which is really cool. But as you can see, I just healed Wrath there for 767. I think that was only for 2 stacks. But later on in the game, once I got all my gear mods, mods and I had full stacks of osmosis, I was healing for 1,000. So it's pretty insane. And you can even further that with other things through her helix tree, or if you just have better gear mods than I do. So she's really, really strong as just having a split second heal for someone to pretty much get them to full health. But here you can see sort of one of her weaknesses is that if she doesn't have her heals up or she doesn't have those osmosis stacks, you can really just your allies will likely die at that moment. She's a clutch healer. She's not a sustain keep you alive type of healer. She's a you're back alive for the next next foreseeable future, I guess. So she's really great for buffing up like assassins when they're diving in, things like that. Give them enough health for them to actually get out of there, because the one thing that Miko has trouble with is dealing with a lot of incoming damage. You can really actually out damage his heals. With Alani, it's really, really nice to pretty much, if your allies at low health, you can pretty much get them to full health, and that should be enough to kill the enemy Battleborn, or at least get them out of harm's way. So she's pretty flexible in terms of being able to disengage and engage as well, and her abilities actually reflect that too. Her Riptide is awesome for chasing enemies, and also a little bit of minor CC, but being able to knock away enemies. And her Geyser is great at locking down one person and pretty much making them an insta target. Now that is one of the things that sort of worries me. That's easily her strongest skill. When stuns like that are really, really strong in terms of team coordination, your allies can really just jump on that one person, especially through one of her helix choices, which I think needs some number adjusting. I think it's pretty strong. When you lock down an enemy with your Geyser and you pick the right helix choice, they get extra, all incoming damage to them is boosted by 30%, which is insane. And also any damage getting hitting that Battleborn gets damages and surrounding enemies for 30% of that damage as well. So it's pretty insane on some of the stuff she can do. She has some pretty nice helix choices, but like I said, I really like where she's at. I am slightly disappointed about her ultimate, because it pretty much is just a damage dealing ultimate. When initially you don't have any effect augmenting it until you hit level 10. That's when you can actually get some stuff like, okay, well, now it heals allies. Here's a really, really nice stun and lockdown from Atticus, and I really love that highlight. He pushed her into the wall, stunned her, and allowed me to hit my Geyser, so I locked her down again. That is the perfect example of sort of how you want to combo her Geyser. But anyways, back to her ultimate. Yeah, until you hit level 10, you can augment it to heal allies over time while they're standing in the sort of the whirlpool effect, I believe. Or this is the ultimate right here. You can target a location or an enemy, and it makes a whirlpool effect that deals initial damage and then damage over time. But I really think they should have given her more of a supportive one. I'm not a huge fan of giving supports like this a lot of damage, or at least damage abilities, because obviously it's just mostly just it's going to make people build her damage, when really she should be more of a supportive role. Now, the thing is, though, she can play she's sort of like Umbra, I guess, but in the sense that she's a little more on the bursty side. Umbra can do some damage, but it's a little over time, as well as her heals are over time. Alani's sort of on the opposite spectrum, where both her heals and her damage are sort of bursty, I guess, is the best way to put it. So, I mean, I like where she's at. I don't know if, maybe that's just a personal preference. I wish she had more of a supportive ultimate, because her Riptide and her Geyser can actually do a fair amount of damage already, not to mention her just basic attack isn't that terrible. It's really good at medium range just as a harassment tool, and you really want to be actually hitting those. You want to be really good at getting to aim those, because it's going to be the source of your healing. When speaking about her basic heal, it relies on those osmosis stacks. Your right click, which is your basic heal, will just heal an ally minion or an ally when you're targeting them. You probably saw, you can see right there on Galt and now Atticus, there's sort of a little bit of a water droplet effect around them. That just shows that you're targeting them, and that can be your target to actually heal. It can be a little finicky, especially when there's a lot going on, so I hope they maybe adjust it, or they make it a little bit more noticeable to show who you're targeting. Only when you're really up close and when there's not much going on, when you can really tell who you're actually targeting. And there's been quite a few times during the game where I ended up missing the heal and end up healing myself accidentally. And when you're playing someone like Miko, it's not that bad when you start healing right away. But when you're playing someone like Alani, where you only have that one chance to save your ally, if you miss it, then they're gonna die, and then you're just you're probably gonna get blamed there, because of the cooldown essentially on her heal. Now the cooldown on her heal, her basic heal, is actually quite short. The thing is, though, her heal is atrociously bad unless you have osmosis stacks. There are times when I healed with only 1 or 0 of my osmosis stacks, and it only heals for like 69, and you can't do it repeatedly. It's at like once every few seconds, so 69 health is not going to do that much against a barrage of enemies in order to save your ally. So you, like I said, you really have to work towards at least getting 2. More often you want 3 stacks. But here you can also see Alani's actually pretty good at wave clearing. When you combine her abilities, it's actually pretty nice, and she can actually support a lane. Here my aiming fails. You can pretty much support a lane by yourself, actually, and she has really good wave clear potential. All her abilities are AoE, and they're easy to hit, and they can be further augmented for damage and stuff like that as well. So I'm actually looking forward to maybe trying out some damage on her and really relying on my heals, but also being a good damage support. And I think it would be actually good to have a loadout like that for games where you still want that heal, but at the same time your team might need a little more damage as well. So that is my basic thoughts on Alani. In terms of what I'm going to be doing with her in the future, I'm not 100% sure. I do want to do that damage stuff, but overall I think just more commentaries in Meltdown. I think she's really, really nice in Meltdown. She's actually very nice as a roamer. Oh, that's another thing. Roamer. That's another thing I want to try is just roaming with her. Here you can see the geyser actually healing me as well. Like I said, she has a lot of tools, I guess is the best way to put it. She's sort of like Galilea, where I think that was me missing my... Oh, no, that was the enemy, Alani's ultimate. She's sort of like Galilea, where you have a ton of tools, and maybe that's why people are getting the impression that she's quite overpowered, is that she's sort of jack of all trades. But I would say, just because of the play style of her and how clutch your heals have to be, how on point your aims have to be, she requires just good timing, and not everyone's going to have that. She's very skill dependent is the best way to put it. And here you can see my level 10 helix choices affecting the ultimate there. So I don't think she's overpowered. I do think she's really, really strong, but I think she is in a good position. Her being an Eldred, though, she does have some pretty nice natural toughness, so she is a little tough to kill, especially because she actually does have a fairly small hitbox as well. So that's one thing to consider. I mean, at least Miko has a pretty big head to knock around to get those critical shots. But if you build enough survivability on her, she is relatively tough to kill. But again, her cooldowns are relatively long. She does to get those cooldowns lower, you need either gear mods to do that, or you need to pick the specific helix choice, and on top of that, you need to be hitting your you need to be hitting your torrent shots very, very accurately, and your torrent shots are just your basic ability. But once you get that going, her cooldown effect on her helix tree is pretty insane. Even just going to a minion wave, you can get all of your things on cooldown. Not to mention, it affects your ultimate cooldown as well, so you can get your ultimate going pretty frequently. And because it's a damage dealing ultimate, that is sort of a scary thing. And like I said, her numbers might need some adjusting. It would be nice that her ultimate just came as a basic heal as it is, maybe an AoE burst type of heal, like to sort of fit in line with her other sort of play style, I guess. Like, her play style is being a burst healer, and it would sort of mirror Miko's, where Miko's healing is over time, as well as his ultimate, his mushroom, is over time as well. Well, it would have been nice to have Alani have an actual burst heal as her ultimate. Maybe maybe everyone around her gets healed based off of her osmosis dex. I don't know. That actually, now that I think about it, that probably would be a little overpowered. But, the thing with bursting heal is once you get healed, if your enemies are still hitting on you with the same amount of aggression as they did before, you're still going to die just a few seconds later. So that's why she requires just a ton of timing, and her effects are really cool. If you look at her ultimate and her abilities, just as a side note, I really like the graphical indicators of her abilities and things like that. So yeah, I am loving Alani. She's a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys enjoyed sort of my thoughts about her. If you have any questions about Alani, feel free to ask. Like I said, everyone's gonna be fairly new to the game, fairly new to Alani, so no one's gonna really know how to play her. But I love burst healers. I love getting some good clutch heals in there, and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me get some of those clutch heals in this gameplay. And I hope you guys look forward to more Alani gameplay, because I'll be definitely recording some more. And yeah, not much to say there. It was a great game. We made a pretty nice comeback through midway. We were falling behind a little bit. And be on the lookout for my next video, which will likely just go over her helix choices in more detail, because I did not go over them here. I will look up her hidden helix choices. I believe some people have already actually unlocked all of her hidden helix choices, or at least most of them. So I will take a look at those and sort of speak my thoughts about every single helix choice, and I'll also show you guys my gear mod. It won't be a how do I play helix guide, I guess, but I will definitely speak my thoughts about them, because I'm sure people are interested about Alani's abilities and sort of how they work. And yeah, like I said, she's a lot of fun. Definitely check her out if you haven't already, if you are looking to fill a more supportive role, but she can also do quite a bit of damage. So other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully you guys have a great night, day, morning, wherever you are. Talk to you guys soon.